So right now we're here in London, which is actually France's sixth most populated city. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be speaking to French nationals who have come here to vote to decide who they think should be running their country. Let's take a look. Why do you think Macron will win?
Because Le Pen is fucking bullshit.
What do you hate most about Le Pen?
Everything.
What policy do you hate the most? What specific policy?
With Le Pen, she's a populist, she's fascist, she's racist. She's everything we can hate.
Which statement did she say that was racist?
Le Pen. Well, you mean her whole life? Well, it's going to be very long. She used to say all this kind of stupid thing about, expelling all the migrants, national preference, this kind of thing.
I just hope it's going to be Macron.
And why would you like Macron to win?
Because I don't want Marine Le Pen to be president. That's mostly that.
What do you like least about Le Pen?
Have you followed the history of her family?
We have. We're just trying to get everyone's opinions about what they're focusing on.
They are just the wrong people to govern our country. I'm sorry. They just got the wrong idea and everything.
We just want to know who you might be voting for and who you think might win.
I'm going to vote for Macron and I hope he'll win because if she gets through, it's a disaster. I'd be really, really ashamed to be French.
Why do you think it might be a disaster?
Because she represents hate and I just hate everything about her. So.
Do you think Brexit has influenced the results in any way?
I think it started something that's not very good. With Trump, Brexit, everything, so I hope French people will know better than this.
Why not Le Pen?
Well, because of what she stands for.
What do you think is the worst thing she stands for?
Oh, the list is too long.
Can you name maybe one? Just one.
But it's just...
Who do you think will win?
Macron. Macron, definitely.
Is that who you'll be voting for?
Yes. Yes.
And why would you be voting for Macron this year?
Okay, mostly because I don't want Le Pen. So this is why. She is racist. She's close-minded. She's not for. It's not a progressive way to make a country go forward. It's a very pushing backward, getting back on some kind of backward nationalistic view that some people who are scared and fed up with the problem we have in France, people who are scared of immigration will follow her, thinking that she would actually defend the French and all this kind of the same thing that kind of worked with Trump, make America great again, and that's what she fueled her campaign with, which is not a solution. That's not what France is about.
Emmanuel Macron.
Why will you be voting for Macron?
Because I don't want Marine Le Pen to be president of France.
I think Emmanuel Macron will be winning today.
I hope Macron will win.
Why would you like Macron to win?
Because he has had private industry experience, and I think it's very important for France to have this kind of candidate. And
Do you think
president?
Do you think the terrorist attacks that have swept sort of Europe recently has had any influence on how French people are going to be voting?
I think it has impacted French people, but I do not think that people were mostly concerned by those attacks, especially in large cities like Paris, will be inclined to vote for an extreme candidate.
What do you think is the most extreme sort of stance that Le Pen has?
I think now we're living in a globalized world, and I understand that she's trying to bring a national preference, but I really think it's outdated now.
Hopefully Emmanuel Macron will win the election, because I think it's time for a change, and moving towards extreme right is always a concern.
Do you think the terrorist attacks that have been taking place across Europe have influenced French people's opinion?
It's really difficult to tell, because on the one hand it has a serious impact on society. On the other hand, people, I guess, are smart enough to realize it's a very tiny minority of people who are extremists and who actually happen to damage their own community. So, we're not silly. We know that it's a very small number of people.
Mr. Macron will win, and it's a very good news for everyone in France.
Who would you like to see win the election? You don't have to tell us.
Tell you.
That's okay. Who do you think everyone in...
I think people don't want to say what they want, what they really think because of the consequences.
Do you mean people like the silent majority, people who voted for Trump and for Brexit?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully it will be Macron. No one would want to see an extremist winning, hopefully.
What do you think is Le Pen's most extremist values?
Actually, it brings her back to her core value, you know, where she's been educated and how she's been educated. That's going through her DNA. Can't let that happen, can you?
Okay. So who do you think is going to win the election?
Well, it's very likely that it's going to be Emmanuel Macron. Yeah.
And is that who you'll be voting for?
Yes, likely, yes.
What is your favourite policy of Macron?
Well, I wasn't necessarily voting for him on the first round, but I think given the choice we have today, that's the only one we should reasonably vote for.
Macron. He has to win.
Why would you like Macron to win?
Why do we want Macron to win, guys?
We don't really want Macron to win, we just don't want Le Pen to win. Le Pen is far right, even though she's trying to hide it.
As we say, we normally want Macron, but it's better, you know, bad than worse. That's the way we look at it.
And so what do you like most about Macron?
Well, let's just face it, I don't want Le Pen to be there, that's all.
What policies? Because our audience, a lot of them don't know much about Le Pen.
I just want to say that I don't want Le Pen. That's all I have to say. And if I have to stop and vote Macron, then I have to. Then that's
Would you not really have voted Macron before? You're just mainly doing it to stop Le Pen.
Indeed, she's just a very scary person and very narrow-minded, and that's something that we can't allow ever.
I ask you guys who you think might be winning the election this year.
Well, we hope it's not going to be
Beyonce.
No, we hope it's going to be Macron, but hey.
Is that who you guys are going to be voting for?
Well, yeah.
Which policies of Le Pen are the most detrimental, do you think?
Oh my God, a lot of it actually, because you know she doesn't really have a program. You know, she plays on insecurity and fear and closing down the borders and everything. So I mean, I'm a firm believer in Europe.
So, after speaking to the French voters outside the polling station, it seemed overwhelmingly in support of Macron. And not so much because of his policies, per se, but mainly because it's not Le Pen. Whenever I went into it a little bit deeper and asked the voters what they liked most about Macron, they turned around and said, well, he's not Le Pen. Le Pen is an extremist. So it seems to be mainly focused around that. Now, we also have to consider the fact that the majority of French nationals living in London are going to be overwhelmingly liberal and pro-EU. So the results today are sort of what we really expected. But there is one thing I noticed quite significant, and that is that the people who were sort of showing signs of support for Le Pen were very reluctant to talk to us, and the ones who did seemed to be very quiet and very shy and sort of scurried in as soon as they finished speaking to us, looking as if they were worried about being shouted down. And I think that shows how a lot of the people who are voting for Le Pen will be feeling in the UK and with France. It seems to be reminiscent of the Trump and Brexit style silent majority. Thanks for watching. If you like that and you want to see more, then click like and subscribe.